Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we got a really cool video for you. I've got Rob here from Powertac down. All right, he saw the ER9 video that I made. He was like, look, we need to go over a couple of basic flashlight tactics, give you guys an idea of some of the different tactics that are employed with handheld, duty, and EDC flashlights. We are going to be shooting suppressed here because we're trying to be kind to the neighbors. You know, we got the cover of darkness here, so we're going to have a little bit of fun. And the point of today's video is we certainly want to give you guys an idea. I'm not a trainer, Rob is though, so he's going to give you an idea of some of the different tactics, go over some of the pros and cons and things. Yeah, some of the basics. So what you thinking? I mean, like, there's a lot of differing opinions.
There's a lot of different opinions. The main thing is go out and train, okay? One person's explanation of how to do it might not work for you. You might have a, moto ability, one of your fingers, one of your digits might not work the same as mine. You might have had an injury before that might not allow you, your shoulder, your rotator cuff, something. But these are some basic, ideas and tactics. Some of them are 10, 20, 30, 40 years old. Some of them are kind of a newer concept, but this is something, just presenting it to you guys and presenting it to Eric, and he asked me to come do it, and just try it. It might not be the end all be all, but you learn through doing, and you might find things that you like, you might find things that you dislike, but you can adapt it and make it your own and be comfortable with it.
Right on. Well, let's go over a few things.
All right, so Eric, we've got a typical El Presidente drill, okay? So you've got 3 bad guys, all 3 of them have weapons or guns, and ultimately it's you or them. So with a flashlight, we're gonna go over some basic techniques. So the first thing I'm gonna show you is the over-under technique. So what a lot of guys will do is they'll put their firearm out and they'll put their flashlight underneath it and they'll engage per target. The only thing I don't like about this is you have to make a conscious effort on, off, on, off, on, off. With training, obviously that's something that can come. Other people will turn around and just leave it illuminated and they'll shoot 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, back and forth in the El Presidente, okay? The cool thing about the Powertac that I like, and one of the selling features that I really gravitated toward the light on, is regardless how I hold it, I can do a momentary strobe and let off with that button we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
So for this technique, okay, what I'll do is I'll put it on strobe, and what I would do is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I turn my light off. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're basically, everybody gets one shot before somebody gets a second shot. So you're trying to subdue all of them, but then turn around and make sure that you finish all of them off.
So before we go too much further on the flashlight tactics, explain, I've heard this El Presidente drill or whatever, what exactly, I'm familiar with it, but just let them know for their benefit.
The El Presidente is you have 3 bad guys.
Okay.
All 3 of them are hostile.
Right.
All 3 of them wish to do you harm.
Okay.
So
basically it's 1 against 3.
1 against 3.
Okay.
So the rule of thumb is if all 3 of them are armed, I want to engage all 3 as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Before I turn around and put more rounds in the second guy, I want to make sure the third guy was engaged.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to put 2 in the first guy and the other 2 guys might still be able to attack you.
They're still attacking.
Right, okay.
They're still shooting, they're still engaging.
That's right.
So if I've got my flashlight up, okay, and I can hit the first person, hit the second person, hit the third person, okay, and then come back around, hit the second person in the middle, and then hit the person on the far side again, it gives me a better survivability. Because now all of them have at least gotten a shot within the first couple seconds. Now again, I didn't do this at rapid speed because I want people to see the drill so that they can start learning it on their own. Yeah. And it's not about my abilities, it's about teaching them the abilities of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Everybody gets a shot before somebody gets a second shot.
That's right.
Make sense?
And honestly, the third man, the one that's in the end, is going to get the second shot first because he's getting the immediate second shot. Okay, cool.
Immediately.
And that makes sense because you're already there. It's economy, right, of movement.
Yes, sir.
Where you're already there, you might as well shoot again and then work your way back.
Absolutely.
All right.
Give it a shot.
I'd love to try it. All right, so we're going to load up. I got some 147 grain ammo here in our 9mm. This is a CZ SP01 with a OSS Rad 9 suppressor on it, just for reference here.
Engage.
All right, we're going to go underneath. All right.
Perfect. Very nice.
Yes, sir. Very easy. And
you stack them in on top of each other on the guy in the far right because you didn't have to transition.
The gun was already there.
The gun's already there. Absolutely.
That's right.
Great job.
Yeah, I felt comfortable with that. It didn't feel weird or odd. So I guess the only other thing, let's say with that particular technique, would be maybe integrating some movement on your part.
Get off the X.
So then now that these guys are dialed in on you, you want to make yourself a hard target to kill, right? So you would move around a little bit.
Perfect example. May I see the flashlight?
Yeah,
Actually, I'm going to use my E9R.
All right.
So you hold on to that. I'm going to use my E9R.
All right, I'm going to switch with you. All right, hammers down.
Yep. Switch with me.
Coming around you.
Okay. So we're going to drop the magazine.
Yep.
Okay. Hot firearm. Same thing. This time I'm going to do a momentary on.
Get out of your way here.
Momentary off. So now, different approach here. I'm going to momentarily touch the tail switch on this and engage that way. I'm going to use the same. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change it up. I'm going to hold the flashlight like this. This is called a FBI or an older approach.
So in the ER9 video, this is what I was doing in the ER9 video.
This is what you were doing in the E9R.
Okay.
I like to hold it out here. We spoke about that a little bit earlier. I like to have it to where if somebody were to try and grab my arm or attack me up close, more for building clearing and things like that, if it's out here, I can still use my firearm and keep it closer to my person. Most of the times I'm not clearing a house with a large can on the front of it or a suppressor on the front of it. But for purposes of this video,
the exception, not the rule.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. But every time I illuminate somebody, you want to move a stutter step because wherever they see this light is where they think you are.
They're going to shoot in that direction, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're going to associate the light with danger, and that's where they're going to draw their hatred towards.
Absolutely right.
Gotcha.
So once you get the first technique down and you get your movement down on the El Presidente, you can turn around and take it, hold your light out. Okay, we're going hot. You ready?
Okay, hang on. Make sure I get this thing on the.
Yes, sir.
I need to be able to tap. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got my
so
light
we're
set
here.
up.
Okay. We've got threats down range 1, 2, and 3. But if you notice, it's so bright that I don't really have to worry about moving from target to target to target with the light. I can hold my light up. A lot of guys will try and move the light to the target.
So you're doing it momentary just to disorient
Just to disorient them. And if I give them something to shoot at, it's up here off in the distance. They're not shooting toward my person. Just a different approach, a different tactic.
Right
so
on.
if I'm here, okay, I engage the first one, I engage the second one, I engage the second one, third one, and back. So now it's up here. If they're engaging me at a different distance. And now I've got this much gap between what they might be looking at as a focal point and now downrange.
And if somebody does close distance and get close to you, your arm is already sort of out and you can still keep them at distance a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And have a little more leverage against them if they get close.
I have something close. Worst case, if they find this light.
So there's validity in that tactic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you're engaging somebody and you have this technique, this technique, this technique, I don't really care to have the light directly in my person, in my space. This is my workspace. This is my bubble. I don't want anybody in it. So if they're here and God forbid somebody gets close enough that they can grab this light, I can throw this light off, I can push down, I can let go of it. I can sacrifice this light if they're that close to me and still after I've created
distance. You don't need the light anymore at that point.
You probably don't need the light if they're that close and they can grab it. So if one of these guys came out of the woodwork or came out of somewhere and wanted to engage me close, we're probably at a point where I can disregard the light if I had to. But now, even if they grab my arm, they don't have control of my firearm. This is my livelihood right now.
Yeah.
This is what is going to ultimately end the fight.
I almost wonder if there's some like psychological aspect to throwing the light away to where maybe they go squirrel and they're so fixated on associating light with danger that they almost go, well, I'm going to continue to chase the light. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe they associate it that way.
It's a great point. The one thing that I've always learned,
on that, of course, but yeah,
in being a student of, I guess, gun fu or firearms. Gun fu is what I'm going to call it. If somebody tries to grab this, they get tunnel vision. You're exactly right. So if they try to grab this firearm and they try and take it, more often than not, if you punch them in the face, they're not even expecting it because their goal, it's kind of like if you give a dog a treat or a toy, they're not looking around anymore. They're going after the ball. So if they reach for this firearm and it's in front of me, the mentality is to either ball up your fist and attack or, to pull back, but nobody wants to sacrifice anything. It's actually hard to train yourself to ditch something and pull it in because your main instinct is if somebody tries to take something from you, you almost want to pull it back. You almost want to regain control of it. So it's actually a discipline, like you're saying, which is a very astute point. You almost have to train yourself. If somebody tries to grab something in your left hand, but you have a firearm, if they're close enough that they can grab this, step back and go to work.
I don't want to get off on this tangent in this particular video, but I did recall seeing, I don't even remember which trainer taught this particular thing, but I noticed there's one trainer that in his class, he was teaching that, okay, you've got your gun holstered, and they go, all right, danger, danger, and they'll have you hold an object that's kind of important to you, like, I don't know, maybe a tray of food or soda pop or something like, or Coke. And in the South, it's Coke, y'all. But you know, you'll be holding a Coke or something, and then they're basically going to require you to drop whatever's in your hand. And you have to like train yourself to go, you know what, ditch this. This is not important. But it's so hard for us to, you know what I mean? We're so used to not wanting to do that.
I'm so disciplined at it now because I make myself be, that it's almost like somebody's poking me with a taser in the back if I carry something in my gun hand. Because I always carry my groceries left-handed.
That's right.
I actually bet one of the gentlemen that I work with.
You want to have your gun hand-free.
Right. I've actually got a standing bet with one of the gentlemen I work with that I was trying to train, one of the younger guys, that if he sees me carrying a phone, a drink, anything in my right hand, he has every, it's gonna hit me in my pockets. I say, hey man, walk up to me and say, hey, I need that $20. Because nobody wants to lose $20. Nobody wants to lose anything. I can't afford $100, but in reality, I always tell people, you'll never see me carrying something in my right hand because the mentality is, I don't want to throw my phone on the ground, but you have to think about it.
That's right.
It's a conscious effort, like I just said with the light, to drop something. It's you want to grab it.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
All right, let's trade places.
Trade places.
All right, my pistol's hot. All right, so we're gonna go.
I like to hold it out. There you go.
Yeah, I hit the one guy twice instead of going to the third guy. Let me try again.
Why do you think that was? Because you incorporated movement.
Yeah, because I stopped.
Now you got to do movement.
Right.
You're turning the light on and off.
Right.
Or you're leaving the light on.
That's
now,
right.
Again,
yeah, you're kind of incorporating more steps, so it becomes a little bit more complicated at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Training.
Let me slow down and try to get the process down.
Yes, sir.
Then you can work on speed. That's right. Like
that's
crawl,
absolutely right.
walk, run. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, we're gonna hold it out. We're gonna. Oh. I missed him, but hey, I threw it.
Hey, when in doubt, you got to do something.
I really need to work on my gun throwing skills. That was not a very heroic looking throw. Now look, it was all in humor, guys. I would not do that in real life, but hey, when in Rome, right? Throw a gun. Look, hey, this is a CZ. Like, I love this pistol, but at the same time, it's a tool, right? Don't be afraid to get your stuff dirty and use it. All right, what's next?
All right, so probably the least favorite of mine, but honestly one of the most effectives, and I'm gonna go ahead and make it ready, is if you hold a flashlight to your cheek, under your jaw, okay? So if I take my Powertac and I hold it here, anywhere I look right now, okay? Firearm downrange, if I look over at this camera, it's going that way. Now, if I actually look directly at the camera and flash it, it's going that way. If I look over here, so it's almost like a turret. So you can treat your body like a turret. The only thing I don't like is if you look at downrange at the target, you see my shadow? You see how it's shadowing the targets?
You're casting a shadow.
You're casting a shadow, but you might also, if you look, you might be casting on your person. Now, I can't see what they can see, but from here, I might be casting my arm. They might be able to see part of the gun because if you look, you can see it. On the flip side, when you're back here, you can see and track your sights a lot better because we're not gonna have backlighting when we're in a gunfight. So for this method, it does illuminate all of my sights, especially something like this where I have a fiber optic. But in this situation,
I do have the luxury of having night sights on this pistol.
Very cool.
Which is
very cool. Always help. All my duty guns have.
Put night sights on your pistols, guys.
All my duty guns have night sights. So for this technique, I'm gonna hold it to my chin like this. I'm gonna leave it illuminated.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna do is the same El Presidente drill.
Right.
Okay, you ready?
Go.
So, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
That's it. Done
Wow.
and done. Done and done. Fast, easy to acquire because, you know, again, you're almost like your own tank, your own turret on the tank. It's just gonna go on this plane. It's gonna stay exactly where your eyes are. And it almost helps you track because you're not thinking about holding your hand in suspension. You're using less motor skills.
Right.
And everything is about gross motor skills in a gunfight. Your fine motor skills kind of deteriorate. Okay, you go into fight or flight, but you're using that again, and you don't even have to think about controlling the light because you're controlling it with your eyes.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
I will. All right. So the idea being that the light is going to look where you're looking because that's where your head is.
You're using your eyes ultimately.
But that's the pro, and then the con is that if the enemy does have some drop on you, wherever, if he is launching bullets towards that flashlight, well, guess what? That's your face.
Right at your face.
And if he's a good enough shot, that he's got you.
Bad day at the office is
very scary. All right, but we'll try it. Okay, and we just jettisoned our pistol in the mud. Let's see if it runs. I mean, I cleaned some of the mud off, but
she's a CZ.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, here we go. Ready? Ah, fail, baby.
Party foul.
Well, that's all right. Try
Gas
again.
it up and go.
That's right. Okay, here we go.
See how much faster that is? It just feels more natural. The downside is you give something away. You give that away.
Let's see. I got a couple of rounds left. Let me see.
Let it eat.
Try a headshot here. It's for fun.
Pretty
all
wild.
right, baby.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. You
Very
know,
cool.
it's kind of crazy because, you know, a little more accurate than you think you would be in using a light in a situation. You would think, because we're so predisposed to shoot on a flat range at paper or steel and not really integrate movement or tactics, right? Like people generally may not, you know, want to integrate tactics. And we always think, okay, we're gonna, you know, stand here in this picturesque position with two hands on the gun, and we're gonna require this nice fancy sight picture.
Right.
I would imagine with a bit of practice, you could do that pretty freaking fast.
You can do it fast. Obviously, there's different levels. There's even more techniques or tactics. Some guys like to do it this way. I don't like to do it because your natural instinct is to rest it on your wrist right here, okay? So if it's here and that slide comes back and recoils and causes a malfunction, what are we talking about? Throwing the light down, not knowing how to use it, not knowing how to slap and rack and things of that nature. So there's other tactics, there's other techniques. With training, these are kind of the industry standard, the 3. But again, you can add elements to it. You can add, okay, I stay stationary and I turn the light on and off. I use my strobe on my Powertac and it's strobe, strobe, strobe. You can use it as, okay, I'm keeping it on, but I'm gonna move left and right as I shoot to get off the X and make them have to shoot at a moving target. I saw somebody there, now they're there. Yeah. Sometimes they might think, whoa, there's more than one person.
So something else, all right, when you had your left arm behind, look, show right here. Okay. So just lift up the pistol. Yeah, see how you had your arm back there? That would also seem to me pretty inefficient too. So like, what if they did gain distance on you and you needed to keep them off of you? Now you might potentially either have to put your arm in front of your muzzle. Now you're already at a disadvantage, right? See that axis is already broke.
Yes, sir.
And you're occupying your own space when you need to be keeping them away from that space.
Keep them at bay. Yep.
So that's probably the least optimal.
Absolutely.
At least
there's a reason I don't usually,
but, you know, that's just my take on it.
There's a reason I don't like to teach that, because you're the type of guy you are. I just want to show that and show your viewers. But those 3 main ones that we've shown you, they're tried, they're proven. Unfortunately, most people learn as a result of, like we talked about, failure, okay? Some of the failures or some of the problems that have occurred are people being mortally wounded, people being, unfortunately, you know, lost on duty. So all we can do at that point is learn from it, okay? So
how can you avoid it?
How can you avoid it? How can you be harder to kill? How can you train to, okay, I'm gonna make myself the best instrument, and instead of just, okay, I've got a cool firearm and I've got a flashlight. How many people honestly have put a lot of thought into how they'll deploy their flashlight if they have to shoot, if they have to engage somebody?
Something else interesting too, even just that bungee technique, like
pretty cool.
Just a simple thing like that, like you know, $1 bungee. It's
I can't take credit to that. A lot of guys overseas actually came up with that. A lot of guys were, again, in gunfights.
If it works, it works. You know?
In gunfights, I learned that from a guy who was deployed overseas. He might not have come up with it. The guys he was with might not, but I've adapted it.
But the survivors did.
Yes, they
Someone
did.
who obviously survived doing it did. So that's the thing, like tactics are written and deployed by the survivors. I've got a couple of rounds left in this pistol just before we end the video. I'm just gonna jettison these here real quick, just for fun. Oh, we'll do this number.
I'm gonna slide behind you.
Oh, Oh, just off. All right. Anyway, guys, this is just really meant to be kind of a quick and dirty synopsis on some of your basic flashlight techniques. I mean, we could really go down the rabbit hole, but I hope you enjoyed this concept, and let me know if you want to see more of this type of stuff. And I just want to kind of give a good general disclaimer, right? Like, we don't do training videos. There's so many great content creators on YouTube that are doing training and everything. Like, that's not really our vein, but I do like, because I know that there's a lot of new gun owners that are following our channel and that they're looking for information and education when it comes to gun technology and different ammo and those kind of concepts. But it's cool to have a little bit of a crawl, walk, run concept that we can put on the channel here to give people an idea of, you know, you don't just buy the equipment. You've got to deploy it, you've got to use it, you've got to carry it. So hopefully this gave you some food for thought. And Rob, I really appreciate you hanging out with me, man.
Always a pleasure.
Awesome stuff, man.
Train.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day, guys. We will see you soon. Many more videos on the way.